Hi folks, Peter Lawn here. Today we're going to take a look at a combination of Icarus circular builds to get a better looking platform around our circular building. And so let's give this a shot. So you can see down here at the bottom I've got my 4x4 platform. I've got a beam in the middle here, and I've got two circles that are in here, and these two circles represent, the inner one represents the octagon build that I have in one of my other videos, and you do that by putting one beam up and jumping on the top, centering yourself, and then placing basically 16 beams all the way around, and that gives you an 8-sided building with an optional balcony if you want. But the problem with the balcony is kind of ragged looking all the way around. And then I've got the 24-sided building, and that's achieved by putting another beam on top of this one, and basically standing on top of that. And anyways, I'm not going to get up there, but and you place down 24 vertical beams, and then that gives you 3 out to the building wall, and then another 3 out beams to a platform. But the platform is quite large, 3 beams wide, right? And I don't always need that much real estate for my building, so so I thought, well, what about if I combine these two methods to see what I can get out of it? So I'm gonna actually give that a go and see what we can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the offset method on the 24-sided ring that we got here. And you might be saying, well, what is the offset method? Well, basically what that is you lay a bunch of beams down like so. Let's see here, we'll start with this guy, go that way. Instead of extending these beams straight out, you're doing another whole step on these, and then what you do is you basically go in and you put a beam down right in the middle of this seam on each one of these horizontal beams that are laid down, and then you extend those beams out and then connect it together. So here's a comparison of using this method of the railing versus using the traditional 8-sided building railing method. You can see how smooth this is right here compared to every second railing that you've got here. So you got a standard distance railing, and then you got this overlap. So it's just another way of doing it, but today's method is a lot smoother on the outside. Basically have to, well, maybe there's an easier way to do it. We'll do it this way. Yeah. So we're just laying down beams, flat beams basically onto the ones that we've got placed here. So I'm going to go now and set a vertical beam in on the seam here. Now I'm not going to make you watch me go through all of these. I'm going to do the first couple of them, and then we'll join back here once I've got this completed. And you want to sink this in, just down, just above. Kind of like right there, so should be centered. Good enough. So you place it, and then place the next one. Try to maintain as perpendicular to that beam as possible. Do this all the way around, and so we'll meet back here once I've got all of these placed. Welcome back. This is what I've got now after laying down the horizontal beams and then sinking in a vertical beam in the center seams of each one of those. And you get this funny little cog pattern all the way around. Now you notice, as a result of doing that, my height has changed on the where my floors are going to go. So that outside circle now is the new height that I need to get to. So I'm going to have to redo that inner circle to match this height of this height of these ones here. So, but let's next step first is to extend all of this out to our railing as far as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that extra there. We're going to jump up on top of this guy, and we're going to just extend our beams out from this guy's here, right? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do that for each beam, and again, I'm not going to make you watch this all the way through, but you can see how I'm doing it here for the first couple, and we'll meet back here once I get all of this done. Alright, welcome back. So this is now what we have. We extended our vertical beams out with horizontal beams, 3 beams all the way out, and if I take a look at this with the camera, you can see sort of how that looks. And now what we need to do is we need to put supports in at the ends of each one of these beams. So this is where the fun part starts, especially if you're on top of a mountain or something and these beams are extending out. You're gonna have to build some scaffolding and etc. to go around. I'm going to show you the first couple how I do them, and then hopefully you can kind of apply that to your other ones, but it will apply differently to if you're really extremely hanging out over a cliff or something like that. So, but I'll show you how I'm going to do these first bunch to make it easy. And I always like sort of a diagonal beam to support the ends of these beams. So what I'll do first is I will place a floor plate just on this beam that I'm standing on, like so. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the next one first, and I'll go and get a beam, deploy it in the diagonal position. If it's going the wrong way, hit the R key to change its direction. If there's this underlying floor plate here, we don't need this anymore, so we can actually get rid of these so that they don't get in the way of us putting these beams in. But what you want to do is you want to get it in underneath like that, right? So the last object that you point to is where it's going to snap, which grid it's going to snap to. If you think about all of these beams here as independent grids, you have to point to the beam that you want to, snap to, and then basically position yourself like this, right? So that's what we want to do. Now we're going to just put the floor piece in and move to the next one. And we want to snap it to this beam here, not to this one, this floor plate that I'm standing on. So you can see how it diagonals, or how its direction goes over to the next beam. So now we'll go to the next beam again and do the same thing. We'll switch to our beam, point to this beam here, go down underneath, there it is there, and then place a floor, and then do the same thing to the next one, a beam, there it is, and then put the floor in. Okay, and I'm going to do all of these all the way around, put supports in, and put a floor all the way around, and then we'll meet back here. So we're back. I'm just about almost finished putting these extra supports in and these outer floor plates on. I just thought I'd pass along an extra tip as well. When placing, sort of alternating between different objects to place, for example, in this case, beams and floor plates, it's always good to put those in your hotbar down below in the quick bar. So for example, when I hit the 9 key, I've got my beams, and the 0 key is going to give me my floors. So it can go a lot faster sometimes when having to alternate between objects when you're placing them. So in this case here, I want to go to the beam, so I just hit 9, point to this beam, there it is, I go 0, and I can just go like this, right? So 9, 0. It just speeds up the build process a little bit if you positioned yourself that way. And 0 to finish it off. Alright, so that's this whole section here. Now we got a little bit of work again, so what we're going to do is, because we got all of our supports now, I think I do, just double check to see if I'm missing one here. Oftentimes what you can do is, you know, when you get to these kind of points in the game, you know, I often use the camera to take a look. So you use the number 8 key on your keyboard, and then control is moves the camera down, and space moves it up. But it gives you the ability to scan around and have a look to see that you've got everything covered off, and do a quick look like this, right? So what I got to do now is I'm going to delete all of these beams, basically the beams going from the center to the outside, and then I'll meet you back here, and we'll check in with the next steps. So welcome back. I'm almost finished deleting these beams. This was what I was doing, basically just standing here, deleting 3 beams, moving forward, like so. Nothing falls down because I'm supported all the way around. So here we got our nice balcony that goes all the way around. Now, if I put in the, you know, for example, the railings around this, you're going to see, and it's kind of hard to see in the snow when I'm putting railings here because it's just difficult to actually see where you're placing them, but there you go. So if I got a few of these set up, if I go into picture mode and take a look at this, see how smooth that is? That just looks really good. It meshes up really, really nicely on the outer edge of your building. A lot more work just to get some nice looking railings, but that's the way to do it. And then of course now what we do is we just basically use that inner circle to build out our octagon building out from there. Now, one of the things you're gonna have to do is raise those to the same height of these guys here, right? Because, you know, if I just extended these out now, I wouldn't have the same height of the building, so I'd be screwed up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, and we're going to we're just going to delete this whole inner circle, and we'll recreate it at the right height. So do this. Most of these are delete the floor underneath. It's not a problem. If we delete those inner 24 vertical beams, that doesn't matter either, because we've got these ones here. The most important ones are these ones, right? Alright, so we're going to jump up on top of this. Oops. Jump up on top of this. Come on, you can do it. There we go. We're going to get ready to place a vertical freeform beam. So we're going to hit the, in my case, the 9 key, and get it back to vertical. And you say, well, oh yeah, okay, so we've got to get this inner circle the same height as these guys here. So actually, to do that, I'm gonna go down first. Hang on. Because what we want to do is we want to point at this surface, because that's where we're going to be using as our guide. And then we want to raise up our, using page up to and page down to position our height when we're looking at this floor piece to be the same as this vertical piece here. So we're going to try to get as close as possible, and we'll do a test. Let's try that. That looks pretty good. It's close. You can try to get closer if you want, but I think that's good enough for me. So now we'll get up on top of this thing again, and go and get ourselves centered, free placement. So now when I place a beam right here like this, it's going to be the same height as this one, right? Because I'm pointing at that ground there. So, all right, so let's get kind of centered up. Again, you know, I'd mentioned in my other videos, I always line my buildings to the grid, the compass grid HUD up above. You can see this is perfectly west, this is perfectly north. And I'm just going to move over a little bit. There you go. That's about right. And that's about right. Okay, so now we're going to place our beams here. And I always do the, you know, northwest, southeast first. And then fill in the gaps after. So it looks like I'm a little bit off. That's okay. Doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, otherwise you'd be spending all your time trying to position these. So then I go directly in between and look at the tick marks on the HUD there. That's Gotta go. Same thing with this one. And over here. And over here. Now you might be asking, well, why did you have so many beams on the inside before? You had 16 beams in here. And the reason for that was because if you're going to use this to go straight out and then just use these every second one as supports for a you know, for our railing all the way around, or for our platform all the way around, that's what you would do traditionally. But in this case here, because we've done it this way, we only just need to build our walls now out from here. So once we've got those placed, we're gonna go now and extend our walls out. Got our eight-sided, and we're just gonna go 2 out from here. Watch me build this because it's not that long. So alright, so we get to this point, and now what we're going to do is we are going to just basically put our floor plates. I guess I didn't need to jump down. I could have stayed up on there. Actually, you know what? I'll meet back here in the morning because it's getting dark, and we'll do the rest of this with some daylight. Alright, we're back after a good night's sleep. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put our floor plates out on either side of our extended beams, like so. These should match up to the outer ring. Might be off slightly. Check and see. Let's have a look here. Yeah, pretty close. I think that'll work, right? Because we're only going 2 floor plates out, well, I'd recommend if you're going to build this up, you know, like at least 3 floors up, you probably want some support beams underneath these beams. So I am going to do that and build those out as well. So let's do that. And how we do that is just attach one and then sink one into the ground, make sure it's in there. Delete this. Like that. There. What we can do now is actually delete these beams here. So we're going to do that again. Go around and delete each one of these. Just the floor underneath there. You gotta kind of watch it sometimes. Deleting stuff. This goes pretty quick. Alright, so now we're going to put up our walls. I'm going to use this clay brick. Look here, I'm going to put a door right in this one. And then I'll just put windows all the way around. You notice there's a gap there that we're going to have to fill in. You know, you can decide whether you want to go too high or just keep it at this height. I usually like too high because then I can put some you know, some cabinets up above the windows. I usually use those half pieces to do that. Put some storage cabinets on those half pieces, right? All right, and what you do is you have an option now. I would normally recommend, you know, with these kind of buildings, if you want to go up a little bit higher, you're going to need these inner supports right here to extend them up to the roof to give you that extra support for the roof line. It all depends. Sometimes it's interesting. I find that sometimes stuff doesn't fall and break, and sometimes it does, just depending upon the terrain you're on and how many beams up you're going. But I would recommend you keep them there. These ones now, we can pretty much delete all these outer ones and recover all these beams if you want. I mean, a lot of times I'd say, who cares, and I'll just bury them. So in this case, I'm just gonna cover them up, and so let's do that. Let's go. So when I do this inner floor, I'll only do every second. Not this one, but then this one, right? Not this one. This one. Sarah. Oops. Did that one the wrong way. And then you end up with this funky looking little pattern down here. Again, you don't need the center beam anymore, so get rid of that. And then I do this, and I do every second one again. This one, and this one. And if you're like me, you probably hate the way the texturing flickers like this. That's why oftentimes the only texture that doesn't flicker like this when you have overlapping floor pieces is the stone. So that's why you see me using stone floors all the time, because I absolutely can't stand this texture flickering. So, but there you go. It's all totally up to you. You can finish off the railings on the outside all the way around, and then put the roof on if you'd like me, and then also, you know, cap in these holes. I would say the easiest way to do these holes would be to just extend from these floors out, and just to cover that off. Actually, let's just take a look at that just to see what that looks like. Yep, and it stays within the circle here as well, so that's good. So you'd fill those all in. If you want to take a look at how I do the roof, I would do the roof probably, you know, with some ramps. And let's do this because we'll see if anything falls apart when we try to finish the roof off, right? Normally I would close this up now with a floor piece, and again I'm going to use stone for the floor roof. I think we can do every second piece here like this, and it's up to you if you want to make the you know, the wood pieces underneath, make sure that they're in the right orientation before you place them. I think in this case I'm going kind of like that. And then you just got these guys here, right? And again, I think I was doing this every second piece or something like that. So there you go. So we don't need to use those inner pieces. The other thing I did on this other build was I actually built off of, there's another floor that you put like this that just kind of smooths the edges of these ramps as well. And so you're left with a building that's looking kind of like this. And then the other thing you can do too is you can add some, you know, like a roof line along the top. That gives you, you know, sort of a ramp roof. And there you are. So you got a nice, smooth railing along the outside, and that is using, in summary, this is using the 8-sided building with a 24-sided balcony, basically. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll catch up with you on the next build.